Make America utopia, take away the economy from those who rigged it. As I see it, class warfare, the only resort to right-wing doom. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the entire United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving the signals from our internet, formerly known as the Adapanet, created by we the people. Every great thing in this country, every great technological advance in this country, everything that we've done in this country came about because of we the people, because of you. We have a special program for you today. But before we get started, we'll pass it on to our great geniuses in the studio.
We're still looking for those guys.
Yeah.
Jack, have you seen any geniuses around here?
I haven't seen them in 2 years.
Oh, me neither. Well, it is Friday, the 21st of February, 2025, and good morning to you, Egberto, and good morning to the entire world. Don't have anything from me this morning, no rants and no screaming. So we got Jack and his wisdom. Let's switch over to Jack and see what he's got to say.
All right. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, Jack. Talk to me, my dear brother. Talk to me.
Okay, I'm going to give you your headlines back. Trump lies exposed. If you think Trump is going to give $5,000 to each household because of DOGE savings, think again. This administration only takes money. Any savings they find, they are going to pocket. This is another lie meant to get you all excited emotionally and then let you down. You're being gaslit. Trump and Wonder Boy Musk dropped the farmers in the mud by freezing funds from Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. Trump betrays millions who thought he could lower their cost.
Yeah, they sort of elected a Trojan horse. Well, hey, we have Sandy online this morning, and our interim general manager for Pledge Drive. Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Good morning, Howard. Good morning, Jack. And good morning, Egberto. And good
Buenos
morning
dias.
Egberto so eloquently puts it every day. Hey, folks, day number 2 of Fund Drive. What we're trying to do is collect a few dollars so that we can glide along until the next Fund Drive. It's been that way for 54 years. 50 weeks and 6 days. 8 days from now, we will be 55 years old. Help us celebrate community radio in Houston. Help protect free speech on the airwaves by donating this morning and helping Egberto to his $400 goal. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Thanks, guys, for being here this morning, and thanks to all of you listening to the sound of our voices. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy, and good morning, Sandy. Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. We already have in the house on our chat Joe from Los Angeles, California. We also have Jay Ray says, good morning to everyone and the geniuses in the booth. Appreciate you all. Thank you guys for all that you do. Folks, we have quite a lot of territory to cover here. And at the same time, we have to raise north of $400. So before I get started with this very important stuff that I need to talk about, I want to ask you early on to please do one of two things. Give us a call, 713-526-5738, extension number 1, and give us whatever you can to keep these voices on air with this necessary information, because you're going to learn a hell of a lot today. We are going to learn a hell of a lot today. Now, but we also have to get this pitch going. We also have to bring the Politics Done Right piece of the pie to politics to KPFT. We have got to do it to make sure we can continue doing what we're doing right now. So I ask you as kindly as I can to please call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. What can you offer us? We are hunting, we're asking so that we can reduce the number of fund drives for people to please step up and say, I am going to give KPFT 1 coffee a month. I'm going to give KPFT 2 coffees a month, 3 coffees a month. That's $5, $10, $15 a month. Or I may want to show my appreciation for KPFT by providing a brick, a 4x8 brick at $25 a month, or a 8x8 brick at $50 a month. Or you know what? I don't want to have my card hit. I want just give me a T-shirt for $100, but whatever. Or maybe you just want a membership where you can vote. $40 a month, or not $40 a month, a $40 membership. Do whatever you can. The thing about it is, we need a lot of you to call in now, even as I'm pitching now, and give whatever you can to support this program. As you know, we put the work into it. Jack is here every morning, leaving the south. It's one of the south ends of this area to drive all the way up in the mornings for something. Jack's on the road to get to this program. Same with our brother Howard, making sure that the transmitter is up. And of course, Sandy is putting all this volunteer work in as well at the station. We make sure to bring this to you. So I ask you kindly to please call 713-526-5738, extension 1, and give whatever you can, those options that I mentioned. Also, you can go to kpft.org, kpft.org, hit that donate button. When you're scrolling down to the shows, remember to select Politics Done Right so that it's accounted for. It doesn't come to me. It goes all to the station, but they need to know what programs are making what. Make sure to select that and give whatever you can. Folks, this is real. We don't get any money from the government. This gives us the freedom, even under a fascist government at this point, it gives us the freedom to tell you the truth. And what you're going to learn today is the truth. I promise on everything that this is the truth. A lot of times on mainstream media, you have to hear this one says this one says that, as opposed to these journalists who know the truth being able to say, no, Trump, you're lying. No, Marco Rubio, you're lying because previously you said this. No, you're lying. We can still do that while we still have a democracy, a fleeting one, but still have a democracy. We will be here to inform. 713-526-5738, extension number 1, or go to kpft.org. We're starting the program in a minute, folks, but I'm asking you to call right now. I have 2 great videos that I hope to get to, but folks, we need to get those calls in to make sure this show can stay on air. All right. Jack started out with the $5,000 that Trump kind of threw into the ethos to tell you, you know what monies we're saving from DOGE, we may just give 20% back to the American people, 20% back to pay the debt, and then the 60%, he doesn't say what he's doing with it. We know that probably means 60% for tax cuts. Okay? But the guy makes the assumption that you're just going to listen to his words. You make the assumption that you're not a very smart person, and he says that's what he likes. So I did a piece late last night, after watching one of the programs. I said, you know what? I need to cut this out for all of you to hear, and specifically not for the choir to hear, but specifically for my good friends, my MAGA listeners to hear, and because we can still do something about maintaining the democracy, something about maintaining the American lifestyle. I want you to listen to this. Let me see if I have it queued up correctly. I think I do. And then we'll take it on the other side. DOGE is failing to come up with any kind of numbers that would really show a whole bunch of fraud or efficiency or anything like that. But Donald Trump is starting to realize he's in trouble. So he's trying to buy time by promising Americans that, hey, we're going to give you $5,000 each household. And how are we going to do that? With the savings that we got from DOGE. 20% is going to go to the American people. 20% is going to go to pay the debt. Of course, we don't know what happens to the next 60%, like the tax cuts. But here's the reality. The amount of money they're finding is chump change. Less than a half a cup of coffee at Starbucks per person in the United States. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
There's even under consideration a new concept where we give 20% of the DOGE savings to American citizens and 20% goes to paying down debt.
I am sitting here frantically writing down these numbers because they don't add up to me. It is time for money power politics. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have both floated this idea of giving DOGE dividend checks to taxpayers using the money saved from its cost-cutting efforts. But a senior fellow at the conservative Manhattan Institute tells the Washington Post DOGE has reduced spending by $4 billion at most, far, far, far from Musk's $2 trillion goal. As she puts it, quote, the American people could possibly take their dividend to Starbucks for half off of 1 cup of coffee. Justin, explain this math to me. The Musk plan is to cut $2 trillion in federal spending, okay? The Trump team says it's going to deliver $5,000 per household. All of that's happening while Republicans are trying to pass a new budget that increases spending by $300 billion, and they want to have massive tax cuts for corporations. How is this possible?
This is what happens when a numeracy hits ambition. So just before coming on the show, I went to the DOGE website where they show line by line every one of their savings. It adds up to $7.3 billion, which sounds like a lot, but remember there are 340 million Americans. So far, DOGE's savings add up to $21.47 per American. The president is proposing that 20% of the money DOGE saves goes out as a dividend check. So, Stephanie, you and each of your viewers is going to get $4.29 in a DOGE dividend. And this is what happens when you don't understand that you're looking in the wrong places for the big money.
Okay, but Brian, even if they found a ton of money to cut, right? Even if the money to the American people was a lot more than $5,000, here's what I don't understand. The point of DOGE is to pay down our debt. Right? We currently have $36 trillion in debt in this country. And the fact that they would be willing, theoretically, to take 20% of the DOGE savings and send it out to the American people as checks, isn't that just one big political hustle? Because Donald Trump knows how popular it was when those stimulus checks with his name on it got sent around. And we should remind our audience those stimulus checks were approved not via executive order. Congress did it.
It is. And I think it speaks to, I'll leave the economics of it to Justin, but it seems like so much of this is for show and so much of it is PR and so much of it is just making it seem like you're doing something. And let's remember, too, a lot of the savings that they are showing and they're emphasizing, that's just thousands of federal workers who are out of a job now for no reason other than that they had just started their job within the last 2 years or just gotten promoted recently. It's built on the backs of massive layoffs of people who are working on bettering Americans' position in science, in humanitarian aid, and protecting people from fraud. If you were really serious about paying down the deficit, you probably wouldn't fire thousands of IRS workers whose job is to increase revenue. That's why they are there. So all of this seems deeply cynical and sort of speaks to the larger emptiness of the whole DOGE project.
A reminder, I just told our audience last night when the Inflation Reduction Act designated additional money to the IRS, what did that result in? The IRS bringing in more money from taxpayers. Justin, I want to get your take also on Trump's newly confirmed Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, telling Fox News that his goal is to abolish the IRS completely. And where are we going to find the money? Well, massive tariffs. The rest of them will pay for us.
Well, the problem with that is it's quite simply impossible. The amount of money that we have that we could tax for a tariff is the amount of imports. That's only $3 trillion. When we tax income, we've got $20 trillion to tax. So if you're trying to tax from such a small pool, there's not that much you can get. You can't fund the modern US government purely with tariffs. It's one, literally mathematically impossible, and two, incredibly bad for the working and middle class Americans. But by jingo, it's a huge tax break to the rich.
The new acting head of Social Security made an announcement today after Elon Musk and Donald Trump claimed that millions of dead Americans were receiving Social Security benefits. Well, the new guy overseeing Social Security said that's not really happening. So there you go. Fact check from their own team. The worry is that lie has already made it around the world multiple times. So we'll have to tell the truth every night.
So once again, Donald Trump is making the assumption that the people who follow him do not have a whole lot of stairs, will not do any research, are not all that smart, that they can sit back and believe, one, that he cares about them, two, that he's going to give them some sort of check like we did during the pandemic, and three, that somehow doing all of this, he'll be able to give tax cuts and at the same time let the budget deficit fall. It's impossible. The guy's a charlatan just trying to buy time right now, and we need to call him out for it. And those of you MAGA folks that are following this guy is taking us down the drain. Again, it's you who are the pawns in his game. He doesn't give a hoot about you. Anyway, folks, that is the first. There are three stories. That's the first story that I need to get you, because that is what's going to be floated in the next few days. Oh, you're going to get some sort of a kickback. And people that are having a hard time right now, the working class that has a hard time with rent right now, they're having a hard time with the increased price in eggs and all these things right now, telling you, I'm going to give you $5,000. Let me tell you what's the magic that they're trying to do here. They're trying to say, give the American people the inkling that they're going to give them a few bucks. A check is going to come if my bill passes. And then dare any recalcitrant Republican or Democrat not to vote for that evil bill that also may have a little trinket there for the American folks to sell their soul and then lose their Medicare. A bill that has hurting Medicare, hurting Medicaid, hurting SNAP, hurting research, hurting government programs for the schools and universities where all the real research takes place, not in the private sector. In the public sector is where most medicines are delivered. Even when the private sector does research, the NIH, your tax dollars, pays private sector for research. Don't ever believe that the private sector take risks. They take your money. That's the definition of capitalism. And I know it's hard to accept because we've been snowed all our lives, but everything is coming to pass. This economic system is working as designed. It is working and does exactly what it says it's supposed to do: transfer the wealth of the masses to the few who are coy enough to take it. We're going to continue, my brothers and sisters, but right now we have zero pledges. So we're going to pitch a little bit before we get to the next two subjects. DOGE exposed as these things not being real. And lastly, I need to really get you informed on what's coming next for Medicare and Medicaid. Many of you are on Medicaid. Those of you that have a family in a nursing home, these things really affect people. Those of you who are on Medicare, whether Medicare or Medicare Advantage, it's both going to be handled. I tell you what, if Musk really wanted to save money, he would get rid of Medicare Advantage, which costs the government a whole lot more money than traditional Medicare. But they don't tell you that, nor are they talking about that, since Project 2025 include one of the masters of, and it has been hired for Medicare Advantage. But before I go any further, we're going to pitch a while so you have time to call right now before the next subject, folks. Before we get to this other critical information, you have time to call and talk to us about how we can be supported. 713-526-5738, extension numero uno, extension number 1. And I'm going to pass it to Sandy in a minute, but we need to hear from you. Thank you so kindly, folks. Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. Yes, we're waiting for that first pledge of the morning. We're going to be 55 years old a week from Saturday, and to celebrate, we've got a show at the Heights Theater June 6th with Rodney Crowell and Guy Forsyth on the bill. Rodney will do a acoustic solo set followed by Guy Forsyth and his 78 Specials, a high energy band that played in the studio not too long ago and put on quite the performance. Those are available. Those tickets are available at kpft.org with a click of the donate button or by calling 713-526-5738 option 1 to talk to the donation center. If you're not interested in the music or the t-shirts, we also have a 55th anniversary lapel pin. This design, pretty cool design. It's a old-time radio. It's a red tan design and has the words established 1970, 90.1 KPFT, and will look really nice on your jacket or shirt or wherever you put that pin. The other day we were thinking about putting them all over Ronnie, just pinning them on him. No back to the pin necessary in Ronnie's case. Kidding. A $40 donation gets you that pin. A $40 donation, just about a basic membership to KPFT. But everybody listening that is not calling right now, consider. We've been here for nearly these 55 years on the strength of donations, one pledge drive after another. It's brought us to this point. And at this particular point in time, with free speech under attack, just plain, it's in the headlines. Egberto's talking to you about some of these things on a daily basis. Under attack, we really need everybody to participate that listens and understands that this is community radio, no commercials, very little in the way of underwriting still, although we do get a bit, maybe 1% to 2% of our total needs. But the money comes from you, the listener. It comes during fund drive. This being day 2, we have lots of time to get to that $170,000 goal, but it begins today, and it begins with the first pledge of the morning. Can you be that person? Can you join us at $5 a month or $10 a month? Become a sustainer. Give us $5 a month and just say, we'll keep the card on file, keep drawing that. If enough people do that, these fund drives start to dissipate. We've seen it. We're not doing an August fund drive. This drive was shortened greatly by sustainers as we got off to a really good head start. But let's keep the momentum going. Can't do it without you, can only do it with you. The number to call, 713-526-5738, option 1, or you can go to kpft.org for more information and click the donate button there and do this online. Both methods are safe and secure. We take all forms of credit card, plastic, PayPal, etc. You can even say, I'll pay it later. It's just a promise that I'll do that today. One more time, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Help us out and honor the commitment that Jack and Howard and Egberto make for you every morning. I pop in the fund drives, but they're here every morning, Monday to Friday. Honor that commitment with your pledge of support. And thank you for doing so. Back to you, Egberto.
Thank you so kindly for that, Sandy. Folks, again, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Consider those bricks. That's $25 a month for 4x8 or $50 a month for 8x8. But, a cup of coffee, maybe a cup of coffee a month, that is $5 a month, or a couple of cups of coffee, $10 a month. If we were to get 4 people to give $10 a month, guess what? I've made my quota and I can continue completely doing the subject at hand. So please go ahead and go to kpft.org when you get a chance. Hit that donate button and select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting. Or again, call 713-526-5738. Extension number 1, and we've told you about all those, whatever you can to do. I want to give a great salute to Lee the Bearcat from Austin, Texas. He says, "Hi, all. How are things being gutted? Isn't it fraud, waste, abuse being pointed out?" No, sir. All that savings that you're seeing thus far mostly come from laying off good, hard-working government workers. You see, when you put negative spirits into people about government not working, people tend to believe that the GOP has been doing this a long time in order to reduce forces so that people can get tax cut. But we want good service at the DMV, that's state. But we also want good service at the Social Security office, that's federal. We want good service at the post office. We want all those great things to happen. It only happens if we have good workers, good, well-paid workers. Laying off these folks is going to affect science, universities, etc. All those people in red states are starting to find out now. Our MAGA brothers and sisters are starting to find out that what's getting harmed is themselves. What's getting harmed is the people out there. Look, I was going to do a piece on, thank you so kindly, Ravi. Thank you so kindly for being the first contributor this morning. We need quite a bit more, folks. We need quite a bit more. So please call at a good time. Look, I'm queuing another thing up because at first I was going to give the DOGE story, but I'm going to change up here in real time because I think my people need to hear this. Both my MAGA folk and my regular folk need to hear this. So I'm changing this on the fly right now. I want to play a video that I did yesterday on the 3 o'clock show because you need to hear this one about what's happening to our good farmers in rural states, etc. So here we go. You really can't make this stuff up. Look, we have some Trump voting MAGA farmers that enjoyed the policies of the Biden administration and they took advantage of it. And Donald Trump, they voted for, they made sure that he was president, and he came in and he froze it all. I want you to listen to this and then we'll take it on the other side.
The Trump administration's freeze on certain federal funding has put some farmers across the country in limbo. The farmers are not receiving the critical government grants they were counting on to pay their bills. NBC News correspondent Emily Aketa brings us the details.
There's about 100 of them out there.
Kevin Levitt hoped these solar panels would help his main farm flourish.
The hope here is that these panels will produce enough electricity that the farm needs all year long.
He was only able to move forward with the pricey project because of a federal program that promised to shoulder roughly a third of the cost after completion. But the panels have been up and running for weeks and no sign of the $45,000 he's been counting on from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Could you have ever imagined finding yourself in this position after taking on that agreement?
No, everything is in writing. Everything's signed. You're stressed out. You're on edge. It has a toll on you.
President Trump has signed a flurry of executive orders pausing federal funding for review, including the Inflation Reduction Act, the climate initiative passed during the Biden administration. That has grant money built in for farmers like Levitt to conserve soil, water, and energy.
I can't get any answers.
Coast to coast, farmers who overwhelmingly supported Trump in November are voicing confusion and concern.
I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost.
It's going to reach into every state and every community nationwide. That's how far the reach of the Department of Agriculture is.
A USDA spokesperson says Secretary Rollins is aware farmers have been waiting on payments during this government-wide review and is working to make determinations as quickly as possible, citing plans to share information later this week. Until then,
what do you want people in Washington to know?
Enforce the contract that they gave to us, that they gave to everybody else, and do what it says.
Or else what?
Or else there might not be farms.
So let's talk about this. Some of the unintended consequences, right, of what we've seen from Trump and Elon Musk in some ways. The freezing funding, just apply to the farmers. Also slashing all these government agencies. This is going to impact, we're already hearing stories, including some being put forth on Fox News yesterday, I'll note, of people who were clearly voted for Donald Trump, but suddenly have had their jobs taken away because of what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there is a precedent for this. I mean, I remember in his first term, there was a wave of early stories saying, oh, can you believe it's happening? We're going to talk to some Trump voters, and they're surprised that, you know, their life has been distracted like this. Things have been interrupted. The question is, how much do they care? I mean, how much, not the farmers care, but how much does Elon Musk and Donald Trump actually care? Did they sort of build this into the plan that, you know, look, we've already been elected. Well, Trump's been elected twice. They've already voted for us. I mean, is it sort of a slash and burn thing? I mean, Maine, obviously it's a bluish state. I mean, I guess, did the northern electoral vote go to?
I think Trump got the one.
Trump got the one. Right, never mind. But no, I mean, it is, you do see a lot of this trickle down thing, but that just doesn't seem to be part of their strategic thinking politically. And it's also a question of whether this is a politically harmful thing to them in the long run, other than a few stray voices that you hear in media reports. Now, there might be a lot of them, but it's not exactly a drumbeat that they're paying attention to.
Now, this is really pathetic, right? You have a lot of these people who, for reasons we've spoke of before, refuse to vote for Kamala Harris. In fact, there are polls that exist that show that if we took the name off of policies and ask which policies are preferred by people, they would all go for the policies that the Democratic Party stands for, that Progressive stands for. Now, here we have the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act. And the Inflation Reduction Act was an opportunity for two birds to be killed at one time, right? Do things that reduce inflation and do it by removing the dependency on fossil fuels, which are overpriced, highly priced. And at the same time, I shouldn't say overpriced because we don't take the externalities into consideration. The oil, to reduce the dependency on oil, and in doing so, reduce the cost for farmers by giving them the capital that they don't have necessary to invest in these types of energy systems that make their farms more efficient. And by making their farms more efficient, what happens again? The price of their products fall. And what is called when you don't have when prices of products start to fall, you don't have inflation. The Inflation Reduction Act. A lot of people wanted to make issues of why are they doing that? Why are they're trying to cloak inflation reduction into green energy? Yeah, because you can if you invest in green energy, the overall outcome is the reduction in price, and these farmers started to see it. The people who have their factories that are powered by solar power, the folks who are creating greenhouses that are powered by solar cells, all of that, right? But the Trump, according to this AP news here, the Trump administration believes the role of government should be far more limited. Rather than solar power or energy efficiency, Trump has spoken often about his support for oil and gas, erasing environmental and climate policies created under the Biden administration. His key advisor, and that is the issue. So, folks, again, we have been snowed. You have been lied to. Farmers have been lied to. Those who heard about Medicare and Medicaid being untouched, so it's okay for this guy to do what he's doing, you have been lied to. Those important government workers have been laid off. You had Elon Musk at CPAC yesterday, with a chainsaw, laughing at the demise of human beings being cut. We have Lee the Bearcat in the chat saying, but don't layoff occur all of the time? Yes, it does in the private sector. The public sector should not behave like the private sector. It is not a business. It's there to serve. In fact, if this private sector is laying off, that pretty much tells you maybe the government sector needs more folks. Anyway, I want to welcome Dee in the chat from I don't know where. Lita Bearcat from Austin. Neo Maxon is in the house as well. J. Ray Lawrence Sins from Atlanta, Georgia is in the house. Joe is in the house. Look, guys, we are still at one pledge. We have a lot more to talk about. I have a lot of stuff to talk about Medicare and Medicaid, but also I am responsible for bringing in at least $400 this morning. And the fact of the matter is I'm not close. We ain't close at all. So I want to ask you kindly. I want to ask you vociferously. I want to ask you as best that I can to please give us a call at 713-526-5738. Again, that is 713-526-5738. Consider giving us a good pledge, whatever you can, 713-526-5738, or go to kpft.org, click on that donate button, select Politics Done Right as from the pull down for the show that you're going to support, and give whatever you can. We need to do this to make sure we can continue giving you and enlighten you with this information. Folks who are being snowed, the only way to get around that is actually knowing. When you don't know something, it is okay to make a mistake. But when you know something, you generally vote better. Most of you will vote your interest. Let me pass it along to Sandy in a minute here. But folks, we need to hear from you. I want to get started on Medicaid and Medicare, but we need to get started and we need to get those phones ringing. So look, you got about 3 minutes or so right now to call in, and you're not going to lose anything that we're going to talk about, folks. I know a lot of people don't like to call in because you think that spending the time calling in, you're going to lose the program. Sandy going to be doing some pitching right now, so you can call and make whatever pledge you need to make, and etcétera, etcétera. Tú sabes cómo va la vaina. You can go ahead and do that. And then we're going to come and talk Medicare, Medicaid. Very important subject if we can reach our goal. Sandy.
Thank you, Egberto. And thanks to Ravi for getting us started this morning. We're still about $330 shy of our overall goal of $400 for this program. And you can help out. Just 3 or 4 of you coming in at a $5 or $10 a month level would be a big boost toward that goal. And if 3 or 4 of you did that at the $10 level, we make the goal this morning. Hey, folks, this is serious business. This is how we fund KPFT. You won't hear a commercial. You have not heard a commercial in 51 years and 50 weeks and 6 days. 54 years, 51 weeks and 6 days. We don't have commercials. We survive on listener funding, and this is it. Again, we have that $40 lapel pin, and let me just mention one other thank you gift that's on the table. On April 5th, Ronnie Renfro and Tom Richards will be distributing eye patches to those boarding the 3-hour boat ride on Clear Lake, the R&R Pirate Cruise. We have just a few pair of tickets left for that. This was originally scheduled for December 7th, but the weather, it bombed us out that day. It bummed us out that day, and we rescheduled for just a few weeks from now, April 5. If you want to join in, that's $150 for a single ticket or $275 for a couple, and that comes with it's a catered experience. It's a musical curated experience on their show, and this is a catered experience on the boat ride with both drink and food. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org, and click donate. We're relying on you, the listeners. There's a lot of you listening right now, and it just takes a few of you to make this goal. And hey, it's statistically verified over and over. About 1 in 16 listeners join in and pledge. If we could double that number, make it 2 in 16, things would be a whole lot different. Please consider stepping forward if you've never pledged before. Be the next new member. Join us at $5 a month. Join us at $40 and receive that 55th anniversary lapel pin as a thank you gift. But join us. Don't sit idle. This is not the time to sit idle in America. This is not the time to not protect free speech. It's definitely under attack. And I really feel like those attacks are just going to get ramped up to a more fervent volume. And it's up to us to stand strong and keep community radio in Houston. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Egberto also has a Politics Done Right t-shirt. If you listen to the show and want to display the colors, that's a $100 donation to KPFT and one that you will proudly wear. I'll give it back to you, Egberto. I think we have another thank you here.
Thank you so kindly. We have from Lake Jackson, Texas, Jay. Thank you so kindly for your contribution. We are getting closer, but we need a lot more. Thank you so kindly. You are the one who makes this thing happen. You are the ones who you are helping to subsidize informing our people, something that many times our mainstream media is not doing. Welcome aboard the chat, Gray Beard, Lead Bearcat, Neo Maxon, Didi. Thank you guys for all being here. I'm going to hold the calls to only about 30 seconds because I want to get all this stuff in today, folks. You can muse over it over the weekend, and then we come back on Monday. Let's go to Betty. Betty, 30 seconds, my dear, beautiful Betty.
Okay. I want to say to the big gun Sandy, you are a good Samaritan. So is 90.1 in my special 6 to 7 morning. It's called Give and Help. We are the big guns that Trump hates. Don't take any money from Moneybags Musk, from Trump. They will always use it against you. Stay proud. Trump wakes up every morning to make he doesn't make a move, and he makes 2 calls, one to his psychic and one to his shyster lawyers.
Thank you, beautiful.
Love y'all.
Love you too, Betty. Love you too, Betty. Love you too, Betty. I want to give a big thank you to Brian out of Houston. Thank you so kindly, Brian. We're getting a little closer, but we're still far off, folks. Please give a call, 713-526-5738. Anthony, 30 seconds. I got to hold us to 30 seconds because we got some more to cover. You're on, Anthony. Okay, Anthony's not. Yeah, there you go. You're on, Anthony.
Yeah, we're talking about Medicare, Medicaid. My sister's on Medicaid. She's been on it for years. She's got a lot of health issues. This is going to be devastating to America. It really irks me that the Republican Party has branded themselves as the party of the evangelicals and, the Christian whatever. But what they're doing is not following the teachings of Jesus Christ. We're here to help the poor. We're here to help the disadvantaged. We're not here to take money out of their pockets and put it into the billionaire class.
There you go. And you nailed it right there, Anthony. I'm going to have to cut you there, but you're absolutely right, my brother. Let's go to Brother Bard. Brother Bard, 30 seconds.
Good morning, sir. I was wondering if you could answer a question is why did Joe Biden put $2 billion into an account for Stacey Abrams, that failed governor from Georgia?
Next call. We don't take lies on this stuff. Next call. Let's go to Brian. Brian, come on in. Your 30 seconds.
Good morning. I didn't understand what you told Bart there. You don't take...
Either make her case or you got to get off. Make her case. You got 30 seconds.
Okay, well, what he said is true.
Next call. Okay, let's go. Let's get busy, folks. We are here to solve problems, not to create conspiracy theories and lies that are put out by the right for those who are gullible enough to receive it or to accept it. We can't. The times are too serious right now. These are very serious times, and Americans are getting hurt. I will not. While people are getting hurt, you heard Anthony. Anthony is in crisis mentally right now because of what he on the unknowns that he has with Medicaid for his sister. And we're going to talk ridiculous, insidious lies put out by the right for the gullible who accepts it. Let's talk real people. Let's talk having empathy for people. Let's talk love. Let's not talk that crap that we just heard from two of my friends, Bard and Brian, who are gullible enough to take this. This is serious, people. This is serious. What's happening out there in Washington? Okay, let's talk about Medicare and Medicaid because it is so. But well, before I get to Medicare and Medicaid, folks, I ask you kindly, because this is not a joke. And the reason Brian and Bard, in their privileged lives that they may have a job for now, can be that way, and the lack of empathy, is because the media that they are listening to, well funded by the billionaires. Don't blame Bard and Brian for those thoughts. It's implanted in them, and it was effectively psychologically designed to work with them. These are all things that the Powell Manifesto that you've heard me speak about months ago and all times ago, it was designed to program people the way that Brian and Bard have been programmed by misinformation, lies, and the plausibility of the conspiracies that they hear. This is not an accident at all. This is what's called end state capitalism. And this is all forecasted. Richard Wolff speaks about it, and all these other folks speak about it. And it hurts people. So what I'm asking you, my dear brothers and sisters, to please, we need to keep informed stuff available. And the way we do it is keeping programs like this and KPFT on air. So once again, I ask, please give a call at 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, and provide support however you can. $5 a month, $10 a month. All of that helps. When we work as a collective, when we work together, we can make a difference. And what we are going through right now has a lot to do with us learning not to work together, not to work as the collective that we are. Now, Donald Trump came on Fox News and he looked into the eyes of all of you and said, we are not going to touch Medicare and Medicaid. That's what he said. But at the same time, he says he prefers the framework of the plan that is currently being circulated by the Republican House of Representatives in Washington over what the Senate has proposed. The Senate has no cuts in Medicare and Medicaid, etc., etc. The House bill has $800 billion of cuts to Medicaid. A lot of people think I have my private insurance. So what? They may not think they need to be empathetic to those poor people on Medicaid. It's not just poor people on Medicaid. Medicaid is responsible for those nursing homes that you see a lot of people on Social Security on. Medicaid is responsible for all those disabled kids that, you know, my wife drives around on the bus here in Kingwood to take to their different schools. They are on Medicaid because they are uninsurable by the private sector. They are uninsurable by the private sector because the private sector only does things that makes them a profit, and disabled people don't make them a profit. So those are the people on Medicaid. Poor people, disabled people, people that are uninsurable. And that is what Donald Trump, as he went to Fox News and said, I am not cutting Medicaid. He goes on and tells his minions, we don't want, and he puts it's in his tweet, it's on Truth Social. He says he prefers the plan from the House that cuts $800 billion in Medicaid. And then he claims he's not going to touch Medicare, which again, all of you pay for Medicare, that 3% that you pay on your salary every day, that is Medicare. That's a Medicare bill. Okay, that's a Medicare bill that all of us pay into. Now he wants to keep taking that money out, but cut in the program, claiming to take out waste, etc. But the person that he hired to work on OMB and the other places that control your Medicare is the person who is pushing private health care from government dollars for Medicare. They want to drop standard Medicare and just work with Medicare Advantage, which costs more than Medicare. But what they intend to do is, because it's a private sector, is give less money to each of these private sector insurance companies that's running Medicare Advantage, which they want to standardize. And then they tell you what doctor to see, what medicines you can't and can take, and also what services you will no longer be able to have. That doctor that you're used to, sorry, c'est la vie. Folks, look, we're not asking if this is true here. This is what he's actually said. And all we are doing is, as opposed to spinning it as a lie that you hear on right-wing media, is to tell you what to expect. Now, last night, one of our senior members at the PDR Posse, that's the Politics Done Right Posse. We have a group of folks that we call a PDR Posse that always get together online and talk, etc. She called me yesterday and she was giving me suggestions for the show. And she said one thing. She said, Egberto, we need to do more of this to inform folks. And then she said one thing that turned me on. She said, remember, a lot of people are feeling despair. A lot of you out there are feeling despair. Can we really do anything? He's already in office. And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. First of all, you have to be informed. And that's what we are doing, informing, letting people know what it is. The second thing to do is, what is the modus operandi? What are the things that we need to do? And the thing about it is, your Republican congressperson is important right now. Your Democratic congressperson is important right now. Trump is all up there by him lonesome, but you have the ability. We are there to teach. You have the ability to go out there and let them know that if they vote these programs, that ultimately, folks, that things will change. So, folks, what I'm asking you here is, we have to be able to inform enough people. And we can only do that if we can stay in the game. And we can only stay in the game if you help us do that. And how do you do that? Call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. 713-526-5738, and give whatever you can. $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month, a t-shirt for $100, a Politics and Right t-shirt for $100, whatever you can, right? Or go to kpft.org, drop down menu, remember, select Politics and Right so that we know that this is a program you're supporting, but give whatever you can. We need you now. America needs you now. And this isn't hyperbole. This isn't salesmanship. This is as raw as I can say it right now, folks. We have to be the ones with the solution. It's not going to be going to Blue Star or one of these things. We have to do the work. As my PDR Posse member said last night, despair is solved by action. Sandy, are you there? Oh.
I hope so. I'm here, yes. So, Brian, Jay, Ravi, thank you for getting it started. We're about $200 shy at this point. We've got about 7 minutes left in the program here. Still time for you to call 713-526-5738. Hit option 1 or mouse it over to kpft.org and click that donate button and contribute to Politics Done Right. Again, every day, Egberto's on, and at this point in time, you hear the passion. We all understand it. We all get a little bit, maybe angry is the right word, when we listen to our newscasts and see what's being done right now, taking a flamethrower to institutions that serve the public. Egberto had a point. It's not a private corporation. It's the government. They're here to serve us. And we really need to stick around at KPFT so we can have this dialogue. And the way we do that is with your contribution. So call the number, join on in. Let's fill the gap, the $200. A couple of people getting a Politics Done Right t-shirt, or for $100, we have a 55th anniversary t-shirt. It's a yellow haze, perfect for the pending springtime. It's dark and cold today, but a couple of weeks from now, we'll be working on spring. And this t-shirt, well, the yellow haze and the birthday message from KPFT, 55th birthday, is something you might want to wear around and let people know that you support community radio in Houston. One more time, 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org, and click donate. Egberto comes on and he carries this program on every day. He weaves together a message for you every day through the news clips you're hearing, through the blogs that he's writing, and he puts his back into it. He works really hard to do this. Acknowledge that work. Acknowledge that work. Compliment a volunteer. Compliment community radio by joining in and supporting Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Folks, we only have a minute left before I got to close this baby down. But remember, even after the show is over, you can go to kpft.org. kpft.org, select the donate button. After you select the donate button, you go ahead and select Politics Done Right as the show you're supporting and give whatever you can, all these different options that we spoke about. Or you can call 713-526-5738. Give whatever you can, donate. Let them know that it's for the program Politics Done Right. I know sometimes we shoot ourselves in the foot in that you want to hear the program, so you don't want to get off and dial that phone and that sort of a stuff. But you can do that now because I'm done with all the stuff that we have to do. We have a lot more of the videos and the products at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. But this is the time for you. And again, remember also, folks, this is important. If you have questions and things that you want me to cover, if you want me to answer or whatever, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. I will get your emails, and as those of you who've done it already know that I always answer your messages. kpft@politicsdoneright.com. Una vez más lo voy a repetir, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. I've given the wrap signal. Studio, real quick, anything you want to say before I jump out?
No, take it on home.
All right, folks. Look, love you all. This is Egberto Willies with Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
You're listening to the American Democracy Minute, keeping your government by and for the people. Mississippi